these classes for the kids. I mean, I'll be the fortunate person to give your introduction to these kids. I'm so happy and I feel fortunate to get this opportunity. Thank you so much.
It's actually a pleasure to take this, and one of the reasons is, when we're trying to explain to kids, we need to simplify it so much that it becomes easier for us to understand as well. So, as a Vidwan, teaching kids is the most difficult but the most rewarding. Uh, in that sense, I prefer taking pathshalas.
And
It's kind of
we, as office bearers of the Jain Center, really want to entrust our future to these kids because that is the only way we'll be able to pass on the baton to the newcomers. Because as elderly, we've had those roots of Jain religion, but kids growing up in this country, uh, if we have their roots really strengthened, I think that will give us a lot of more comfort. And that's the whole effort that we're trying to put into that we bring up these kids so that they really get involved and engrossed in all these activities. And Prabhaji is doing an excellent job every time. I mean, and Narendraji, I mean, they're both so much committed to all this task. And we're very fortunate to have these as members of our community.
Yeah, thank you, Minpai. I was also saying that the classes, like, they can special on these occasions, whether it's Paryushan or Das Lakshan, uh, any kind of this simplifying it and giving this kind of information to our kids. It really kind of highlights why we are doing this, what is the relevance. And Mukti ji is doing really great work on that, because I see whenever, like every day when she takes her classes, she takes a puja and she share her screen and she goes verbatim, like line by line, and explains it. What does that mean? So I think it works amazing. And what is good about it's not only our Gen Center kids, there are a few kids who are coming from East Coast and from Texas, from the Central Zone. So all of these kids, they work together. So it's kind of work like, Gen kids, baton, like, all are on the same, boat, and we are all learning together. It's amazing.
Uh, would it be a good idea to publicize even more when we have lectures like this so that other centers can as well join into these things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, this is a great platform, I think, and especially during Das Lakshan or Paryushan, it should be done more, like we should be doing it, publicizing it more and bringing all together. So I think it's especially when we are doing digitally, it becomes much more easier to do that.
Right.
And
So, can you form a group of a few young parents who can really take up this task of coordinating with the other centers? And I'm sure we will provide all the assistance that is needed. So, two things that we need to do is in advance decide who is going to be conducting these things because, like somebody like Mukti ji,
I'm
I mean,
sorry to cut in, but I think we should start the class, and this is a conversation maybe we can take after,
absolutely,
since this is
you are
also
very right.
going live on YouTube, and I don't want
Okay,
students to kind of uh, miss
yeah,
on that
I'll just,
moment.
you're
Time.
very right, Mukti
Sorry,
ji.
sorry to cut you off.
That is absolutely right. Jai Jinendra, everybody. Hope everybody is in good shata doing the tapasya. I'm here to introduce Mukti ji. I mean, she is really somebody who has deep knowledge of Jain religion and born to religious Jain family, Bipin ji and Adhyatma Prabhaji, her parents, and she is the maternal granddaughter of Barilji. She's undergone training and education at the Todarmal Smarak Trust, and that is also where she has given teachings also. She's been uh, conducting shibirs and teaching these religious values all across the different continents. and we are very fortunate to have her here amongst us. I wouldn't take up too much time, but she has such a great command of the language and in-depth knowledge of religion, and which is a great combination of the two. So we are fortunate to have Muktiji, and I welcome Muktiji as a dignitary for these Dashlakshana lectures. Thank you, Muktiji. Appreciate that very much.
Jai Jinendra, thank you so much.
Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Mintrai.
Should we start the class, I guess?
Yeah.
Prasuk, Rijul and Swasti, could I request you to please turn on your cameras? And if one of you all could, Rijul, would you like to start the class with Namokar mantra? Rijul, would you like to start the class with Namokar mantra?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayodhyanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Loe Sarvasapunam, Eso Panchanamokaro, Sarva Pavakanasano, Mangalanam cha Sarvesim, Paramam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namah Siddhibhya. Okay, Jai Jinendra. So we met only a few hours ago. So for me, it's the same day, but I'm assuming for you all, it's a new day, right? Okay. So because we studied about Uttam Satya last evening, we are going to now go on to Uttam Sanyam, right? Which is the 6th day. Now I know today is Uttam Akinchan over there, but we are studying about Uttam Sanyam, right? Okay, so let's do a little bit of a recap. Uttam Chama was, when we did Uttam Chama, what did we understand? It was the opposite of Krodh Kashay, right? Then the opposite of Man was Uttam Mardav. Then the opposite of Mayachari was Uttam Arjav. And the opposite of Lobh Kashay was Uttam Soch. Yes. Then we did Uttam Satya, which was yesterday evening for you all. The opposite of Uttam Sanyam was what? Not lying, jhoot, right? Okay, have you heard of the Panch Paap? Do you know what the Panch Paap are? Okay, there are 5 Paap, right? Hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, and parigrah. So Hinsa is violence, right? Jhoot is lying. So we studied Uttam Satya. Uttam Satya, may we discussed what is lying, what is being untruthful, what is being honest or dishonest, right? So out of the patch, what we are focusing right now is the opposite of Hinsa, which is Uttam Sanyam. Is that clear? But before we get into what Hinsa is or what Ahimsa is or what Uttam Sanyam is, let's between us understand what do we mean by Uttam Sanyam before we get into how we need to practice Ahimsa. Yeah? Have you all heard the word Sanyam anywhere? Do you have friends, cousins, or someone in the Jain community whose name is Sanyam? No? Okay. Yes. Swasti, is it?
I've heard the name before. I haven't
Okay.
known someone. I've just heard the name.
Okay. So Sanyam is a pretty common name. It's one of those most common names that people have. Like it's a John or a David in the US and in English. Sanyam is one of the most common Jain names. Sanyam, if you understand, in a very simple term, means abstinence, having things in control, having things in a little bit, not having a lot of ichcha, not having a lot of wants and needs. Having a very limited life is what we generally understand by Sanyam, right? Sanyam se raho. In fact, when you guys started your Parushan, your parents must have said to you, let's not eat this, let's not eat that, let's leave this, let's leave our television sets, let's stop playing outside, like, let's live a life which is with more sanyam in our lives. Swasti, please turn on your camera. Since you all are only three, and if I don't see one of you all, it's too much of a difference for me. 33% of my audience is now off, right? Okay. So that's what Sanyam means. Now, one of the important things about Sanyam is that because of this Sanyam, Muniraj become Bhagwan. All right. So it's one of those most key components that will help you become Bhagwan. Like without Sanyam, no Muniraj can become Bhagwan. So imagine how important Sanyam must be. Right? That without which no one in this world will ever become Bhagwan. Now, this Sanyam is also one thing that only Manushya have, right? What do you mean? Like only you and I can have this. Only human beings have the ability to have Sanyam. Now, imagine there are Devgati, there are people in heaven, there is Swarg, right? You know Devgati, right? All of y'all? There are Dev who cannot do Sanyam. And only us humans can. So it must be pretty special, right? Like if it's very limited. There's one exception. There are some triyanch or some animals that can do Sanyam, but like those are very few. But in majority, the only beings that can have Sanyam in their lives are humans. And humans are the only ones that can also become Bhagwan in that bhav. So there's like this correlation, like a direct relation. Being human, being able to do Sanyam, and by that Sanyam, becoming Bhagwan. So which is why this is one of the most important dharams of the 10 dharm that we are celebrating. This is one of the most important ones. It's the sixth one and it's one of the most important ones. Now what is Sanyam? Jajni and Reva, could you please turn on your camera as well? Okay. All right. So now let's understand what is Sanyam. Is Sanyam just like not eating, not drinking, not doing the things that we are generally do and like living in a more contained life, in a more controlled life? Is that what Sanyam is? No. Like what would be that one thing that without which nobody can become Bhagwan? What should that thing be? Can you guys take a guess? Can you guys think? Like what is the most important ingredient of becoming a Bhagwan? Prasuk, do you have any ideas? Any guesses? No. Swasti, what about you?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, so when we've been discussing for the last 10 days, 5 days, right? We're talking about one important thing. To become Bhagwan, what do we need? We need to focus on our Atmas, right? Right, Swasti? Like whatever we are discussing, not to do Krodh, not to do Man, all of that is to what end? So that we can focus more on our own Atma to understand our own Atma. So Sanyam is also the same. That with Sanyam, whatever we do, it's going to aid in what? In focusing on our Atmas. That is Uttam Sanyam. Is that clear? Yes, Prasuk, did you understand? What do we mean by focusing on our Atma? Prasuk, are you frozen? You cannot tell. Okay. All right. Okay, anyway, I think we've lost Prasuk. Prasuk, did you understand what I just said?
I know, you became frozen.
Okay, so what I was saying is Sanyam is something that will aid in becoming a Bhagwan, right? So what should that thing be? That the more we understand our Atma, that is the key ingredient, right? Like if I don't understand my Atma, can I become Bhagwan? Do you think it is possible for me to become Bhagwan? So what does Sanyam do? It helps us understand our Atma. Now, how does it help us understand Atma? That entire conversation is what Uttam Sanyam is. right? So now if I need to understand my Atma, and I said that Sanyam is the opposite of Hinsa. So here we are discussing that what are those things that we need to not do Hinsa so that we can focus more on our Atma. One basic thing is not doing parhinsa. Parhinsa is doing violence against other living things. Correct? So what do we understand by other living things? What do we understand by not doing violence against other living things? Any idea? Reva, what do you think?
Um, I
How would
don't,
you practice ahimsa against other living things? Can you any example? Would you eat non-veg food, non-vegetarian food? Right? Killing another animal, would that be hinsa?
no.
No, isn't killing another animal hinsa or like violence?
Yes.
Yes. So if you don't do that, aren't you practicing ahimsa?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say there is a ant somewhere in your bedroom, or like a lizard that just crawls into your bedroom, and you're not killing it. Would that be ahimsa?
No.
Why not?
Because killing a living being is ahimsa. Not but if you don't do anything bad, it's not.
Yes. So if you're not doing ahimsa, then you're like, so therefore you're not being violent towards that living thing, right? Okay. Would you hit your sister? Would that be hinsa?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's say you don't hit, but you get really angry and you say like really bad things to her, and you like really upset her. Would that be hinsa?
Yes.
Okay. So when we not do all of those things are called ahimsa, right? Now, all of these things that we don't do towards other living things, that's what is that? That's for pardravya. Like those are for the other beings, other living things, correct? Like we don't kill them, we don't hurt them, we don't try to, disturb them in any way. We make sure that because of us, they don't feel unhappy or sad. All of that is when we take care of not doing hinsa towards other living things, correct?
Yes.
Can you all give me examples of what are the things that you guys consciously do to make sure that you are not doing hinsa in your lives? Rijul, go ahead. Okay, Swasti, go ahead.
I
Rijul, I'll
sometimes
come back to you. Yeah.
I sometimes stay away from it because if I might do something that might harm it.
Okay. Swasti, could you explain what you were trying to say?
Sorry. Um I would stay away from it because, like, let's say if I'm playing outside
Yeah.
and I'm running, and I see some sort of bug, so
Yeah.
I try to avoid my path. Like, let's say because yesterday my sister's on ant hill, so
Yeah.
we tried so me and my friends tried our best to avoid the hill. Ant hill.
Right. Okay, so you do that. Rijul, what about you?
When I go to the park, I try not to step on the grass
Very good. Can you tell me why do you not step on the grass?
because grass is a living thing too.
Right. Grass is a living thing too. So by that means you kind of avoid doing any hinsa towards these things. Okay. Do you take a shower and like do you like run a long bath and do you sit in the shower for like a very long time? No. Okay. Do you think if anyone who likes wastes water? Yes, Rijul, do you want to say something?
I sometimes use a little extra water, but that's just sometimes.
Okay. So when you use this a little extra water, does it occur to you that maybe that is also Hinsa? No, not at the moment, but that is. So let's break it out. Okay. So when we are talking about Hinsa, there are two types of Hinsa. One is Hinsa towards other living things, and one is Hinsa towards ourselves. Right? So now we are talking about Hinsa towards other living things. So now we know what those basic things are about. How do we not do violence towards other living things? One is we will not kill any other human being. Will you kill another human being? No. Will you encourage someone who kills another human being? No. Okay. You will not kill animals for your food or for any other pleasure? No. You will not use fur. You will not use leather. Right? And these things we do in our everyday lives? Yeah. Okay. What else? When we see, let's say, lizards, animals, or bugs in our house, do we kill them or do we just like shoo them away? Like, let's say there's a mosquito, there are multiple mosquitoes which are around you. Would you kill them? Like, would you like hit it and kill it, or would you shoo it away? Shoo it away, right?
I
What is
just
all of this? Yes, Prasuk?
I try to like catch it like a glass. Like I try to catch it like a glass, and then I just like throw it outside.
Right. That's a good idea too. You can just catch it and throw it outside. Okay. So, you know the 5 types of animals, right? Like there are animals of 5 senses, of 1 senses, 2 senses, 3, 4, and 5. And what do? We try to stay away from all 5 of them. We try to save killing all 5 of them. Do you know why we don't not have alus, potatoes, and carrots? Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Reva.
because because they come from the ground, and bugs could crawl onto them, and when we eat
Okay.
them, we could kill them.
Okay, that's one answer. What else? Rijal, go ahead, and then I'll go to Swasti.
We don't eat them because they're underground, and my dad said that there are little living beings on them that get killed when we eat them.
Yes, exactly. They are living things that get killed. Swasti, what else? Did you have anything else to add?
I was just gonna say that my mom showed me this video on why gems don't eat potato, and it showed like there was like I don't remember a lot from it. It just showed like somewhat basically like bugs going into the potatoes and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So potatoes have thrust jeev. You know what a thrust jeev is? Anything which is more than 1 sensory is called thrust. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have these very minute 2 indriya jeev, right? And when we eat them, they die, obviously, right? Like if you're going to eat it, it's going to die, which is why we don't eat onions and garlics and potatoes and other underground stuff, right? So by that means we also, yes, go ahead, Swasti.
My mom said we could eat dry ginger though.
Yes, that's a longer conversation why that's allowed. But we'll stick to this conversation now. But that's, yes, that's true. We can eat dry ginger. Okay. So one of the things we do is we don't kill any kind of thrust jeev. But what about the 1 indriya jeev, right? The sthavar jeev, the jeev that are only 1. It's we kill them no matter when we walk, when we take a shower, when we uh, turn on lights, when we use fire. So there are 5, right? Prithvi is your earth, Jal is water, Agni is fire, Vanaspati is the leaves, greeny vegetables that you eat, and Vayu is air. So what about them? We kill them, right? Whether we like it or not, we can't help it. Yes, yes, Rijul.
Can you repeat them, because in my notebook it's like for water. And,
okay, I'll tell you. Prithvi is earth. Prithvi is earth. Agni is fire. Jal is water. Vayu is wind or air. And Vanaspati is plants and other green things, right? You got them all? Okay. So we can't help it, right? Like we will have to eat something or we will die, right? But does that mean we have to do it in excess? Can we try to avoid those things as much as we can as well? So for example, yes, Vasti.
Is that the reason why we try not to eat green vegetables during dust Lakshan?
Yes, yes, that is the reason. Okay, so tell me, have you seen, like, when it's winter, it's really cold, we'll just turn on the heater for all the rooms in the house instead of the room we are really sitting in? Don't you think that is also going to kill Vayu Kayak or like the living things in the air? And there are so many ways where, like, we're not thoughtful enough. Like, we'll walk on grass, we'll take long showers, we'll spill water, we'll turn on lights and fans across our houses and we won't turn them off and we'll go to other rooms and we'll just be wasteful of our resources. When we do that, isn't that par hinsa? What about you, Reva? Yeah? So would you now turn off your lights every time you leave your room? Would you be mindful of that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, all of this, right, that we were talking about is par hinsa. But what if of the hinsa that we do to ourselves? Do you think we do hinsa to ourselves, like we are violent to ourselves? What do you guys think? How?
You can be violent to yourself by thinking violent thoughts.
Okay. One is that. That's a nice answer. Prasuk, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, do you think like we are violent to ourselves? Like, we talk about hinsa and not doing hinsa to other living things. But what about the hinsa that we do to ourselves?
Kind
You
of.
think we do hinsa to ourselves?
Kind of.
How do you think we do that? I'll come to you, Reva. Give me 1 second. Any idea? No. Okay, Reva, go ahead. Tell me, what do you think?
Maybe when you get angry at yourself.
Yes, when you get angry at yourself, that's good. Okay, what?
I just couldn't move my cursor. So
Yeah.
the reason is because like when we're doing bad things by accident, we get our bad karma.
Okay, that is also correct. We do bad things, we get bad karma, therefore we are violent to ourselves. Okay. Shirish Bandi, I think there's someone over here. If you could turn on your camera, that would be nice. Okay, thank you. All right. So we were talking about how we do hinsa to ourselves, right? Okay, so there are times where we really want something and like you really, really, really want a PS4 or a PS5, whatever. And then your mom and your dad are like, no, you can't get it. And you're like, you know what? I'm not going to eat food till you give me one. Aren't you being violent towards yourself? Reva, I think you'll need to call your mom again because this class is going to end in the next 5, 7, 8 minutes unless we turn it on again. Your mom is Prabha, right?
Yes.
Yes. Could you please call her as well?
I'm here, Muktiji.
Oh, okay. Prabhaji, this is again showing me 8 minutes and 9 minutes for the class to end.
Yeah, that is strange. Let me see. If suppose that happens again, it's saying that it's 10 minutes. Okay, let me restart it again.
Yeah, I think that will be best. Students, if you could please just join back in, it will be great.